Hello, we are here, and we are not doing a normal open. We do not have a GM screen. I am not pretending to be perfect up here, and we have different people sitting up here with me. So, yay! Really happy to kick this one off. Super excited to see what the future holds. This is our session 0, guys.
Session 0. We know nothing.
What's up?
Our producer finally gets to be at the table.
Who's running this thing?
Yes, nobody's running this thing. Nobody's pushing a damn button.
It's willy-nilly back
Nothing is
there.
happening.
You're gonna
Also, when we're not live.
Thank you, Gus.
Go, Gus.
Cruise control.
So, why don't you go around and introduce yourselves and tell our faraway friends who will see this asynchronously something, whatever you want them to know. Audrey, you want to start?
Hi, my name is Audrey. I am a observer of D&D through an ex-boyfriend, and am fascinated by the world that it creates, bringing nerds and actors together, because I am an actor, and we get to be dorks, geeks, and nerds all together. So it's my first time not just hitting play on an iPod. And I'm grateful to be here.
Woo! We're glad to have you here. Looking forward to getting you into the craft. Mel?
Well, I am Melissa, or Mel.
Or sometimes Michelle, apparently.
Or sometimes Michelle, apparently. And I've been playing D&D for probably about 8 years on and off. DM'd a few games too. And I just love the stories that it can create. And then, yeah, of course, it's so fun to step into worlds and different characters and all that. So,
yay!
I'm here.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun. Which of y'all want to go first?
I'll go.
Right.
Ladies first, Justin.
Ladies first.
Sorry, that's
Get
why
used
you're
to
last. I'm Caitlin. I've been gaming with Angel, who introduced me to gaming in 2016, and basically been gaming with you since then, with minor breaks here and there.
With a little something called COVID, yeah.
But I've been on a longer hiatus recently since me and my husband had a baby, and I'm excited to be back playing.
super excited because y'all get to be in the same game again.
Yes. Me and Justin have been gaming together for many years now. We have quite a game history.
We do a little bit. It's true. I am on the other side of the camera today.
Yes, you are.
So that is
Welcome.
amazing and terrifying somehow. I'm going to out us a little bit. Been gaming with Angel since '92, I think.
Yeah, he beat me by a little bit.
Gaming to me has just been one of those things that I've found that life will give you friends, and the ones that stay with you apparently are the ones that game with you. So that's why I'm here. But it's a fantastic thing to be a part of making yet another story. Forward to it.
It's a beautiful way to put that. And thank you to Gus, who is now our assistant
Gus.
producer.
Wherever.
Who's making this the new voice? Yes, I was complaining about blasphemy.
I don't know.
I'm
It's like
assuming I
his
look and
eyes
sound
and
really
stuff.
good right now because of Gus, so thanks.
Of course. Right. So I'm Angel. At least most days I am, and we have a new tableau in front of us, a new campaign, new players, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. And the very first thing I'm going to get to do is tell you no, what you're not supposed to do with this.
Not my
It's
favorite.
like literally
Angel.
the rule in improv is you say yes and you can say no.
Come on.
What?
Well, they had wanted. Okay, so these babies had wanted different characters. However, we have these little pre-made characters.
I knew it.
You knew it.
I told you we're not going to know which angel we're going to get, and one of those angels is going to tell us exactly what we're doing.
I'm so excited.
However, this is more for me because I'm getting to get into this. So I read all of 1.2. So Critical Role has been incredible. I guess technically Darrington Press has been incredibly responsive to this game. So I read almost all of 1.2, which was the first version that was like publicly available, I believe.
I don't think we've even said what we're playing.
Oh, Daggerheart. Right.
Tell the world.
Yeah,
You're going to play Daggerheart.
I mean, it's going to be in the title, but fair enough. No, you're right.
We must say.
No, we have to.
I was going to start to be like, we're playing.
So it's like three. It's like Beetlejuice. It'll be Daggerheart, you know?
Exactly.
Just do that.
Someone falls over dead.
So that was, they had one version of it, then like with stunning rapidity, they came out with a second version of it, which was 1.3. They're currently on 1.4, which, full disclosure, I have only like really glanced at.
Yeah.
But we're going to be on hiatus for the main campaign here. We have one more session, then we're on hiatus. So I'll do a deep dive then, probably just about the time I'm finished with that one. They'll come out with 1.5, which is fine. I do like the direction that 1.4 is going. It's actually cleared up a lot of my concerns or complaints. So I we're talking about on the way over here. I really am liking what I'm seeing. So we'll see about that. So here's the deal I'm going to make. We're going to go through this initial scenario with these characters, and then if you once I'm more comfortable with the system and y'all are more comfortable with the system, then feel free with the same, like if you've gotten gear, if you've leveled up, whatever, you can keep those bennies and you can apply them to a new character if that's what you want to do. I think that's a fair middle road way to do that.
Yeah, this is a good way for everyone to get an idea for how everything works.
No,
Dip our toes in.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's.
I'm going to have beginner's luck and not know what to do with any of it next time.
Right.
That'll be all of us.
There's a lot. So, actually, okay. I was going to have you play kind of the required character, Caitlin, but you don't have to.
I'll play whatever you feel I should play, Angel.
So
I can do it all.
So there is Marlowe Fairwind, who is the court, who is, I have changed this a bit, but she is the court sorcerer.
I can source it.
For this says King Emerus. It's actually not. I'll cross that out, and we'll talk about the setting. As far as I know, and I'm sure somebody's going to correct me on this, Daggerheart does not yet have an official campaign setting. I know that they have different cities and they have different locations, but there isn't like, here's Forgotten Realms, or, here's Eberron, or whatever.
Here's the galaxy far, far away.
Here, here's some potential things, but we don't have the whole world. So we'll do that. We'll get the characters out first, and then I'll start talking about the setting. Okay. So Marlowe Fairwind, we got there.
Studying.
And Justin, we had talked about you're good playing the kind of somewhat antagonist character, not to the group, but
sure.
Okay. You get to play the species that the elves just brokered a peace with. So,
all right.
There's that. So we have, and feel free to, if you want to change the gender of the characters, the appearance of the characters, that's all cool with me.
Okay.
So we have, for you lovely folk to choose from, we have Barnacle, who is a roguey frog person who does roguey frog person things. We have Garrick Reed, who is a human fighter type, who was a noble, if I remember correctly. And then we have Kari or Carrie Nix, who is a giant warrior.
I'll do the fighter.
Yeah,
Like, I'm already like,
that's kind of honestly, I'll learn how to fight from you and kick your butt later.
so you think.
Which one?
Is there one specifically you want to use first?
Either of those work. Do you want to play a direct fighter, Audrey, or do you want to play more of a sneaky type?
Probably sneaky, because the barnacle kind of reminds me of the only connection I had to like druid.
Okay.
So.
Slide that over. Gotcha. Yes, this table is really big.
Slide. I'm definitely changing name though.
Yeah, no, fair. Yeah, if you want to do that.
Gender.
And in the slim hopes, Justin, that Eliana can ever join us, your amazing daughter, then she'll get to play a giant.
That would be amazing.
Oh my God.
I think that would be fun. Yes. I think that would be fun and a break from what she had played at the table. So.
Oh, yeah, because you told me she had like done her first like guest role like recently, right?
Yes.
She's getting excited.
All right, so I'll give you guys a second to look, just kind of look over that, and we're gonna go over some of the rules.
Do you have a name for Barnacle?
Barnacle. If you want,
You're not in love with the name Barnacle?
You are.
I'm thinking of like How I Met Your Mother, Neil Patrick Harris saying, "Don't mess with the barnacle."
If you want Barnacle, if you want Barnacle to be a nickname, exactly, yeah.
And then you can create a nickname based on it, or completely different,
or vice versa. That could be the nickname. This whole game system is like a pretty fluid experience, and you'll see how I'm approaching this pretty differently from the first table once we get started. So I'm gonna throw out. Actually, no, we'll do that when we're doing that. Okay, and if we have to edit out, that's fine.
We have the ability now.
We do have the ability now.
So I'm sure it's lots of fun to see us reading on screen. This is the first we've actually seen these characters. So
this is the most enthralling part, watching us turn paper.
Right.
as people
so
don't.
Exciting.
As people don't anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and throw 2 more things out at y'all.
Okay.
So you see, Justin, you were the last person in, and I ran out of chips, so I will get more for you. But the way that I want to keep track of...
I might have some stuff I could use that's in a...
You probably do. I want to standardize it, though.
Chips.
I want to standardize it. And if this winds up being too clumsy, we can abandon. I'm not married to it. I just want to see how it works on screen. But the green chips are for armor. The red chips are for life. And the blue, here, I'll at least give you the...
Green is armor.
Yeah, green's armor, red is life, or hit points, whatever. I'll call it life, just so it's different from D&D. And then blue is stress. And get those over there. And I did have white that I was going to use for the action tracker, and I think I left those at home. So those will come back. Do we assume that people have never... I'm assuming anybody watching this probably knows Daggerheart, but if not, I'll just briefly say. So 3 of the resources that you keep track of in the game are hit points, which are going to be the red chips. Blue is the really neat mechanic stress, which is kind of your mental and physical exhaustion or stamina. And then the green chips are, thank you, Vanna. The green chips are going to be armor slots. So that's when, as your armor takes a beating and it starts getting degraded. And you can use armor to reduce damage in this game, which is really cool. So it's a little different than D&D, where armor is just yes or no. So yeah, these are actually going to be, I'm actually going to use the white chips for action. And I bought, this is just for kind of demonstration purposes, because this is too small. And even though it'd be kind of fun to make you guys throw things at it, you'd probably hit it. So when you take a move in Daggerheart, you throw in action shit into the kitty. I don't know, I don't remember what they call it, but to me it's a kitty. And then when somebody fails at something, when one of the players fails at something, they have to pass it to me, and then my greedy little fingers get to dig in, and that's how many actions I get to take. So it's kind of an interesting self-correcting sort of thing. There's a little bit more to it than that. They're fear points, but that's basically it. So I love the idea of having a physical representation of that. Mm-hmm. So that's how I want to do that. We'll see. That's one of the many reasons I don't have the GM screen up, because there is no way that my T-Rex arms are going to get that around. Yeah, that's not happening. We'll still probably have to get like a something in it that I can slide around. But anyway,
a little truck on wheels,
or those long like selfie sticks that have.
The selfie
sticks that have like grabbers,
selfie sticks
robot arms
that you use like to get things down, like the paper towels off the high shelf of the bodega.
Back scratcher thing.
Back scratcher. No,
you can just use it to just like push it.
You mean this that Justin got me? Yeah.
Oh, they used to play like shuffleboard.
The third hand.
Right, shuffleboard. That's a good one. Okay, so we have that going on, and then I'm gonna try this out, and I'm gonna see. I got an abacus, a little abacus. And this is how I am going to keep track of fear.
How many rounds until we're dead?
Fear points.
I love that.
Fear points, and then a couple other things that the enemy may or may not do. I think even in 1.4 in the current version, the enemy still doesn't have stress as a mechanic, so it won't be stressed. But I'll keep track of different stuff. I don't know if I'm going to use this for timers or not. Do y'all like the idea of doing the abacus for timers, like when you're doing a countdown to something bad happening, or do you want to do what they suggest, which is like have a die up front and then
having it kind of like present like on the board like that is yeah, I like being able to see that
better. Yeah,
that's actually really
keeps it really active.
It's a lot easier to see on screen.
Okay. Okay, so
you can see each other's as well as keep track of your own.
So I'll tell you whichever one, and it'll always be the same one. When it's like maybe the bottom will be the bad timer or something like that. Okay.
Timer.
Okay, cool. So yeah, with 5 colors, I think it's enough to. Cool. Couple other ones for people. The way that I want to do this will be the last mechanic thing, and then I'll let's do some world building together. The last mechanic thing. I don't know if you probably can't see this on screen, but so Daggerheart has a really different approach to distance than 5th edition does. 5th edition is super specific. I mean, you're within, like, sometimes within 2.5 feet where somebody is at. So I don't want to do that with this. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try something pretty loosey-goosey. So they have 5 different ranges, and I'm basically visualizing this. If y'all can picture this like an electron. So like an atom, and then different different orbits of electrons. I understand that it's actually a cloud, but we're just
Concentric circles.
We're just going to pretend. We're just going to pretend that it's the old school
isn't
version
about
of
the
it.
atoms,
Nucleus expands out. Yeah.
And so at the center is going to be what this game system says is melee range. Then the one out from that is going to be very close. Out from that it's going to be close. Out from that far. And then very far, because it only has 5 different potential distances. And I think that will work for most situations if we orient the center on whatever the objective is. So I think it'll make more sense once we're actually playing, but like if you're trying to, I'll just say the first situation is a situation where you're involved with a cart. So if I make the cart the centerpiece, and then you see where everybody is at relative to that item, that fixed point on the map, I think that will work. And if it turns into a cluster and it's awful, then we'll do something different.
Deal.
I think the way that they have it,
They relate it, like melee was touching, very close was the short side of like a playing card. Close was a standard like pen or pencil length, and then far was the longer side of a piece of paper. So like the 8x11, 11, and then very far would be beyond like 11.
Paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that depends on the playing board.
they did have some stuff. I'm gonna see if I can get away without using like 5th edition ish maps. But if I can't, it's okay. Then we can go to maps. It's no big. I just want to try. I don't know. I want to give myself permission to try something different. I'm really, really interested to see how this no initiative combat works.
That'll be
That's gonna be
interesting.
interesting.
That's so different from anything that I've done before.
Me too.
So that'll be
I'm kind of excited for it. I like trying new stuff.
Let's mess around.
That'll be a good one.
Touche.
Like rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first.
Plus, actual combat is just chaos. So I feel like it could actually, help us actually hurry through a combat, or because sometimes when you play D&D, like combat can stretch out for a long time,
Sessions
and like
and sessions.
And it's
in game
like
it
super
took
regimented.
it took 30 seconds for all this stuff to happen, but in real life it takes 45 minutes to an hour
Or longer.
or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much longer.
Even in the one that I was running for y'all, when you got jammed up in the caves underneath and everybody was piling on top of each other. Yeah. Oh my god. That was like 1.5 sessions for us to finish.
We don't talk about the sewers.
I feel like I used half the score of Poseidon, like when
This
someone was in a
slash
situation
cutesy
like
games.
that, trying to get out of a water situation. It's like, I'm gonna use like a 7th 45-second clip of Poseidon.
The other, I feel bad because I'm kind of cheating you guys from getting to delve into your characters, but we'll do that if we need to. We can when we stop recording, we can go over any of the stuff that you want to do with that you like need clarification with the characters. So on each of these pre-generated characters, you should find where they have like 3 questions about relationships to each other.
Connections.
Connections, yeah, that's the one. Which page is that on, Justin? Out of the
First page.
very first one. Okay, so yeah, where they have the
Bottom
name
left.
on it, and they should have some blanks. Yeah, there you go. I should have made copies for myself too of all these, but anyway, do you guys want to go through that first, or do you want to start world building, or do you want to go back and forth with
I
that?
feel like I can't decide any of these until I know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
That and world building, so we have some context.
Okay, cool.
So I say do that.
I won't. Great. I'll try to confine this to kind of the bare bones, because the whole point of doing world building as the ever widening spiral is that you start with the smallest point possible and you go out from there. So here's the deal. This is what your characters have just experienced. You have experienced the most significant shift and event within the last moon that anyone can remember or has been recorded. And sages of the moment are still reeling, normal people are reeling, and it has been deemed by most cultures and most of the countries around this world the reckoning. So the Reckoning has had profound effects on civilization, and indeed right now the world is struggling to keep organized society. And essentially what the Reckoning did was it leveled, in a phrase, it leveled the playing field. Irrevocably, crazily leveled the playing field. So I have a philosophy as a GM, haven't done a video on this yet, but I will. I have a philosophy as a GM that the mechanics should always support the roleplay, and the roleplay should always support the mechanics. So I want to take a moment to invite you to think about what it would be like to be in a world. I'm
being dated.
Yeah, no, he's the one who always does those sorts of things. Just debating, yeah. What it would be like where the difference between a giant in strength and a pixie in strength is not that much. There's something of a difference, but there's not that much. Also in a world where magic had been, kind of like the homebrew campaign, had been really controlled, really rare, and then all of a sudden you have these wild talents and this knowledge just popping into people's head like crazy. So instead of 1/100th of 1% of the population having magic, all of a sudden you might have 2 or 3 or 5% of the population having magic literally overnight. The elves who essentially run the city-state that you all come from, it's called Haven, and they have been crippled by this. Their sense of their place in the universe, their connection to their ancestral leader, who I'll talk about in just a second, and indeed the way that just like the whole power system that their hierarchy was predicated on has been rocked by this. And like I said, you have these wild talents popping up everywhere. There's even speculation that elves are no longer immortal. But it hasn't been long enough yet. So that, again, the elves in this world are very close to being immortal. And in fact, from the dawn of civilization to the current time, has only been about three generations of elves. So like the grandfather, yeah. And that may have changed. And they feel something internally to all elves has changed. So Marlo, for you would know something like very, very different has happened. My concept for her was that your magic before had been hermetic, like really measured, old speak, the whole thing, words of power. And now it's just wild inside of you, and you're trying to figure out what this new fundamental shift is inside and what it portends. The second huge thing that happened, and again, this is kind of going with the world building, how we're going to do the world building, is there is an almost complete breakdown in communications between different countries and indeed even different cities, because all magic that had to do with distance has been reset. And so you are living in the era, because this reset just happened a moon ago. You are living in the era where you are having to refigure out how teleportation works, how scrying works, how sending works at distance. Anything that has to do with distance is having to be refigured now. And some people are panicking because some are saying that it's impossible, period, that it's just gone now. But at least the old way, so like the sending stones that you had, they don't work anymore. All of that's just gone.
Wow.
And you had particularly the elves had a highly, highly developed communication and transportation, magical transportation system that they used. Indeed, with a little bit of skill, you could essentially step onto runic teleporters and just be at the capital, so life is totally different now. And the last thing on the heels of that is that this is partially physical and this is partially psychic, but there has been a huge truncation of geographical and historical knowledge. So for creatures that are tens of thousands of years old, you're still very young for one, but for elves who are tens of thousands of years old, they suddenly can't remember the last 9,999 years of their life. It's just gone. They know that they lived. They have vague, flashes of things, but those are gone. And the reason I'm centering so much of this on the elves is that, unlike in most setting, the elves were the dominant species in this world. So they lived a super long time. They were incredibly gifted with magic. They were graceful, beautiful, cooperative. Elves did not go to war with elves ever. So they had a level of harmony and cooperation that allowed them to overcome many of the other races and really put themselves at a serious advantage. Now, they were elves, so they weren't brutal. They didn't do all the things that they could have done, but they definitely ensconced themselves as the premier species in this world. That has literally all changed now. And people are scrambling to try to figure out.
It's rough for me.
Yeah, yes, it is.
It makes it almost like a certain weird, strange kind of apocalypse.
Yes.
Yes, it's a magic-apocalypse.
It's magic.
It sounds like Lord of the Rings meets The Purge, meets the Hunger Games, meets Silicon Valley.
Two more pieces, and then I want to shift. Then I want to shift emphasis. So piece one is that the physical part of that. So that was the psychic part of the reckoning. The physical part of it, when you go to maps, and at least one of your characters needs to have a cartography interest and background and ability, because there's okay.
I volunteer.
Okay, all right. You threw that up. Okay.
This really is the Hunger Games. We already have a troop.
Okay, so yeah, just mark down somewhere that you have a cartography skill.
I got a C in 7th grade in geography, so.
And it doesn't mean
That's halfway there.
It doesn't mean the other characters can't do it. It just
Where do I put those?
just note it down, like probably experiences. Maybe, yeah. And then we'll come up with a clever one-liner. No, we'll come up with a clever way of describing that later. But all of the so you would have been one of the first people to notice this then.
Okay.
All of the maps have been wiped, Melissa. No more maps. Even the magical maps are blank. Because he used to also have like portrait stones where you could use your will and you could manipulate them and have different images come up, and they could. So
it's not necessarily
images.
A material thing,
Right.
like all the ink on paper. It's
that too is gone. All of it's gone.
So what about any maps? Like
What about Google
like
Maps?
the library,
Google Map, not Google Maps.
or like
Google Maps is more
like the library at Alexandria, like everything is burned and
That's
gone.
what about
That's a very good
what about in
historical
memory
analogy.
in my
Oh,
memories?
But yeah, because if it's not ink and it's
in your memory.
everything's gone.
You have you being a cartographer have vague ideas of where different villages and different cities are, but it's like as you're traveling, it'll start to come back to you, but only it's fog of war. So in a
So
video
it just
game,
kind of get reduced
it all got slammed down.
distance wise?
And this is
To read Lewis and Clark, everything you know.
No pressure.
It's okay, I have training in this.
Fortunately for y'all, your city was not so big that your city wasn't so. It's more like a large town, small city, Haven. It wasn't so big that it immediately collapsed because, of course, almost no large cities can support themselves. So so you can only imagine that the capital is in utter chaos right now, as people are starving or fighting or whatever. Now normally they have enough magic to literally make food out of thin air, but you don't know right now. It may not be functioning. You are an important character because you were maybe the first person who was a wizard before, who is beginning to get her arms around what it is in the new reality. Because even like your master and your mentors, they have not figured it out yet. They're in shock. And when you've been a powerful mage for 7, 8, 12,000 years, and then all of a sudden nothing. It's like
That'll throw you for a loop.
that's kind of hard. And how old do you want your character to be? She's still young, but
You're saying she's younger, so I would
But
say
that could be
maybe
anything.
more like 600 years, or is that too young? You think?
no, I think think that's about right. Do you?
Because we're talking people are these
Immortal.
people are thousands of years
centuries.
old.
And, you know,
Do you want her to be?
infant?
Yeah, you're considered like because elves being elves gonna elf.
Elf.
It's not really like a human lifespan where basically you're considered kind of a young adult around 100, 150 sort of thing, and then it's all just you're in your prime after that.
I might bring it down a little bit then, because I don't want her to be like already middle-aged. So
Okay.
let's call her a solid 250.
She's a babe. Okay, she's a babe in the woods at 250. All right, go ahead and mark that down somewhere then. And then actually I lied. No, because I need to get that. We'll get to the gods in a second. So
They're gods.
So, absolutely, gods and patrons.
Who do you think did this to us?
Deities and patrons.
what do you think about
I thought nerds
People
caused
have already
merge.
got all the
No, so
transportation
that
figured out.
question,
Let's just scramble
Caitlin, that question
Marlo's been sitting with
is
that
on the
question.
lips of literally everyone is asking, WTF, what happened? Nobody knows. Not your sages, not her wisdom, who is your ancestral leader. Nobody knows. So, Justin, your character and how many, and you get to decide since you're the person who's going to have to deal with this. How many years ago how many years ago the peace was brokered? Your people, the Qatari, had a lengthy, vicious, to-the-mat war with the elves that lasted a while, because your people lived in a different part of the world. The elves finally encroached into your land. This is your version of it. The elves have a different version of it, of course. The elves sent out the elves sent out their ambassadors, and they were viciously assaulted. That sort of thing. But you were minding your own business on your part of the continent. The elves finally crossed the narrow sea. They started encroaching. You said, no, but hell no. There was a lengthy, protracted war, at least as your people count time. But a peace was brokered prior to the reckoning. And you have some significant connections, because we're about to go to that. You have some significant connections with these people. So I know that character has a personality profile. Feel free to disregard that. I want you to play this character. That goes for all of you. Play the characters however you want to play the characters. That's a cool suggestion if you want to do the personality profile. But if you want to be more of a diplomat, you don't have to be. How long ago was that peace brokered? And how long have you been living in the elven controlled lands to try to understand them, or to try to essentially make sure that never happens again?
Kind of curious what our whole lifespan thing looks like.
Yeah, with the Qatari, I mean, that maybe a little bit less than what we think of as a modern human, but it could, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
that's up to you.
Cats have a pretty long lifespan for their size and all. I don't know why the thought 60 years popped in my head, but
okay,
maybe. I don't think
that's actually pretty close to what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah, let's just go with 60.
Okay. How long ago was the peace brokered between the Qatari and the elves?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, 60 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
Piece of it, yeah.
Okay. Which would be still very short for them, but a long time for you. Okay. So that would have been maybe your grandfather was involved in that peace process.
May I ask the character class of his character?
Sure. Yeah.
Ranger.
Ranger.
Yes, we're just gonna.
Yes. Yes. And this table, we're going to be much more open about mechanics and all of that, because we need to be.
All right.
Sharing is caring. Daggerheart.
Sharing is caring and Daggerheart.
Do not respond to here, kitty kitty.
Well, Ozzy's the best behind.
Cross that
All right.
In fighting words.
Okay, so we have that going on, and I bet you by the time we finish with the character connections, we'll know what brought your character in. So on that note, Audrey, why don't you kick us off? What's that first character connection?
Barnacle.
It has the little suggestions.
Yeah.
Go for
Rogue.
it.
Ribbit. But I love that. Ribbit. My strength and controls is finesse. And with me, that's charisma. So my name's Finny.
Ooh.
Oh, you're going to go with Finny? Okay.
Finny.
I like it.
Yeah, my experience is, they don't see me coming, strike a deal. So it seems like in this world where combat might not be my strength, I'm going to hide to stay alive.
Do you see the, on that first page?
Yeah.
Should be...
Do you need the breakdown or the...
At the bottom left,
Yeah.
there should be 3 questions there.
Yeah, the follow you, too much trouble.
That are connections. Melissa, do you want to kick off one?
Oh,
maybe?
yeah, the connection's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who I want to be with? Or...
Yeah, but then this here in the bold is the nature of the connection.
Oh, okay.
Like how you know them.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'd follow someone, I think, because I'd take direction well.
Pick one of these.
Oh, I haven't heard you yet.
Let's
so
do a brief.
Yeah.
Can we briefly describe all our characters because I have no idea what's on their sheets.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know like skill level of everybody's.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I just
You know what's on the sheet, so you're already ready to go.
Ish. No,
that's why I was like starting to describe like who I was as if like a pitch for power.
A couple of points for each character that are important.
How long? So Finny is.
Yeah, Finny.
Okay.
Finesse, Finny.
Oh, I like. Oh, that's good.
I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's voices when they describe their voices for these characters.
That's good. Do you? Is Finny going to? How long has Finny been in Haven? Been in this elf-dominated town?
Finny has...
Are you just passing through and the Reckoning caught you there? Are you making a life there?
Finny kind of stays on the run because hides, like, doesn't know or know what their family is, but usually when you hide and you take direction well, you are a good follower, but you'll strike a deal and they don't see me coming, so it's not like I'll betray you. I'm loyal, but I've lost everything already, so maybe I'm going to decide who I want to be with. Okay. There's strength in that, I think, but also weakness and you need guidance. I won't turn on you, but don't make me use my dagger.
Look out!
We'll see if you know. We'll see if you know these other people by the time we finish. By the time we finish that, okay. So that's interesting. Actually, I had not thought of any of the characters. So I think you just got caught in this town. Then when this huge realignment happened, Audrey, what do you think?
How long ago did the reckoning happen?
Only about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, if that's the case, then Finny, I lost everything.
Okay.
I've got nothing.
Were you any kind of magic user before the reckoning happened?
Sparks, but no control over what I was able to do.
Okay.
And
they got
kind of scared of what I could do, but don't want someone to take advantage of me for harnessing my powers for the wrong reasons.
And then that got snuffed out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. All right, let's keep going. Melissa.
I am Zafina, or Zeph for short.
That's a beautiful name.
Nice.
Kept the last name of Reed.
Nice.
I am a warrior, human, she person. Let's see, what else is on here? I'm still discovering. I've got a longsword, but no second weapon. Leather armor. I have 2 experiences that are listed here, but there's no description as to what they are or what they're due. Did we just make those up?
I think you kind of just
like I make up my own definition of it.
That's kind of why I took like the hiding. It's like they don't see. Like that's why I literally created my backstory from this experience. I was like, gave me 2 sentences and hello world.
Okay. So I've got affable, which probably goes along with my highborn background. So I would say I was born in Haven.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a, or I could be from somewhere else.
No, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Came with a dignitary group. So whatever works better.
Which do you like better? I know you're like super accommodating to the GM because I'm GM.
I am.
I want you to.
What do you want?
Yeah, but what do you want? What's more interesting to you? Both are interesting to me.
It's more difficult, but it's more interesting that she's not from here and was part of some sort of, but I don't know what other cities, part of an alliance city or trying to become an alliance city with Haven.
And you can't even remember home.
And I can't even remember where I came from.
You're the cartographer and you can't even remember your home.
I'm not.
I like that.
I'm not super knowledgeable of the local area, but I was starting to learn it as part of my getting to know the people in Haven and sharing some information. So I think that's really interesting.
Cooler.
I need to make some of your delegation then. Because and they're freaking out. Some of them are comatose. Not everybody survived the reckoning, by the way. Some people just turned off. Like they didn't die physically, but they're just gone. They're done.
Like the change in all the magic.
It was too much. It was too much.
Their own life force.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's your ancestry?
Highborn. Oh, ancestry. Human.
Oh.
So I do get high stamina as a human, which means I get an additional stress slot. So I need another one of those thingies.
Yep.
And I went ahead and marked it in there. And then adaptability. When you fail a roll that utilized one of your experiences, you can mark as stress to re-roll and take the new result. So I've got some really cool stuff here.
Yeah, no, you do. That's good.
Well, I've got another thing in domain. The domain cards that are already picked, one of them includes I can re-roll a 1 or a 2. And that's just built in.
It's a great label. I love it. It's called Not Good Enough.
No, I laughed at that too.
And then I've got
that was pretty funny.
I see it coming. So more of a perception kind of thing. So I really like the idea. Yeah, she's highborn. She's noble. She's a capable leader. I'm basically sitting in Titus's spot, and I'm sort of kind of turning.
That's kind of funny, yeah.
It's just kind of funny. That's what happens. It wasn't planned.
It's just to that spot.
But I'm starting to realize that just kind of.
This is the sneak. This is the.
I was gonna say yours is like I see it coming. Mine is literally they don't see me coming.
Audrey, you're sitting in the sneaky spot. You're sitting because that's where Corey's character, who's the scout.
Oh my
You're
God.
sitting in the Titus fighter leader spot. You're sitting in Catherine's old spot.
Magic spot.
Yeah. So I guess you're serving pies just to make
Oh my God, but we're all.
You've got a bakery now, whether you want it or not.
Maybe a diplomat.
Poison people.
But yeah, I like the idea she's a diplomat.
I like that.
She's good at that part, but she loves fighting. That's what she would rather do. And so there's, that's more core to her. She just likes the physicality of working through those kind of problems.
That makes okay.
But she can slow down and work through the other problems because she's been doing that for probably all of her life and trained how to do that.
Is fighting...
So she'll contain it, but then she literally has to go punch something sometimes.
Is fighting exhilarating or is it beautiful?
Both.
Or both, okay.
And do you have control over it, or do you get lost in it? Control over it.
Control over it.
Nice.
Okay.
She doesn't lose her cool.
And
when she loses, if she ever does lose her cool, something is really, really wrong. Or somebody really ticked her off.
I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'd love to see you play really, really pissed because your other character is very cool.
Very cool and very reserved.
Steady. Yeah.
So she's gonna be pretty steady, but there'll be moments.
All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Okay, go.
Because I know you guys heard a little bit about my character just from the.
You're the character that must be played in the
leave it to me
in the entry scenario. Yeah.
Great names.
Now you're not allowed to get sick.
I'll try not to.
So her name is Marlo Fairwind, and she is the personal mage to some sort of
Lord Theodulf Skyfire.
And
Lord
Theodulf. Yes.
Lord Theodulf Skyfire, and he is. I'll talk a little bit more about him. He was crippled. He was not destroyed, but he was crippled by the Reckoning recently. And he has been an excellent, protective, nurturing, just Lord.
Perfect.
To Haven.
We like him.
Yeah.
So she is an elf, so she's tall, has pointy ears. I think that she had shorter, straight red hair, and then when the Reckoning happened, it's gone pure white. And she's seen a hair here and there start to come back to some color, and as she's learning about how to control her magic, which is now very chaotic. She's trying to bring the color back to her hair and become herself again. We'll see how that goes for her.
I think you're casting, just to wed the mechanics to the roleplay, Caitlin, I think your casting is instinct. So look at it'll be the +2 on
instinct.
there. It is instinct. So it's gone from your intelligence to like pure emotion and pure spirit.
Oh, so she's going through it.
Yeah.
She's dealing with a lot. And this specifically says that she appears calm, but
if you want.
She isn't. And I like that idea that she's trying really hard to be one of the folks who's keeping their composure together, but
as you're seeing all of these other,
right now.
all of your mentors losing their shit.
Yes.
And going crazy. Okay.
Yes.
I love that.
And she has a dual staff, so she's kind of a badass.
It's pretty strong.
And, of course, some wonderful beginning sorcery little things. Like she can throw a rain of blades on people who are close to her. Just amazing blades.
So
Yeah, as if they were like Chinese, like the Chinese little
Throwing blades.
Yeah, like those. Like she can do like
the switch
multiple.
blades.
Yeah.
you're gonna decide. So one of
That
the
sounds more magical than that.
so one of the cool things about the system is there's not a defined way that it happens. You just tell me, like, when you use that, you tell me, is it like a conjurer where she's like, it's literally shurikens, or is it magical? Is it beams of light, or is it like you're going to decide what that?
I'll let you know when we get there.
Keep going.
Let's see. So she is part of the Loreborn. So like knowledge, learning, education, politics, very important in her community. Which I'm sure is adding to the stress of those things not helping with sorcery anymore.
Right.
And she's a primal origin sorcerer, so she can shape and change magic that she casts into unique different ways. So she has some wiggle room.
As of 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, as of 3 weeks ago.
So it doesn't sound that bad right now.
We'll see how she does with the things going on.
Do you want her? I was toying with this, but this is Daggerheart, so this is all in collaboration. Do you want her to have been a ward of the court, of Lord Theodulf's court before, or does she have like an intact family, parents, and everything? I didn't know how deep into the war you wanted to deal with.
Yeah, I think a word is an interesting idea,
Okay.
and it'll make for some interesting social dynamics.
I think so too, because you're playing a guitar, so I think that'll be fun.
That's kind of what she wants.
Okay, so yeah, and he didn't raise you himself, but he was always like Lord Theodulf was always a strong, balanced presence. So like even though he's male, he had a balanced paternal and maternal presence in the court, and used to be a formidable wizard himself, and then that's gone now. He is also blind. He was blinded by the reckoning.
He blind.
Oh yeah, you said you'd get to his cripple.
Yeah.
With his cripples.
He blind.
So he was debilitated, and and they're scrambling to try to find solutions right now. And I'll talk to you more about that, because there's in canon Daggerheart there actually is a item that your character might be the person to invent. We'll see, because this is all too new. All right.
I actually like the name. I think I'm just going to stick with the Varian Soto.
It is. It's a good one. Yeah.
It's actually a really
Varian?
Yeah, Varian.
Awesome.
Varian. Yeah, he really does read as kind of like an antagonistic. I think his whole thing is that so he was wild born, and so I kind of feel like he was probably always really sort of in touch with nature and almost sort of connected to it, even at a sort of an instinctual level. And now that the world has kind of gone mad, he is not just lost, but sort of just constantly sort of irritated and whatever, as he's kind of the connection to the world is kind of driving him into this place that he just doesn't know where he fits. I don't know why. I think I keep picturing him as actually just having like very sort of midnight black fur.
Ooh, okay.
Probably green eyes.
Okay,
Is it an animal? It's a ranger? Or?
Yeah, so the rangers, they basically look like...
Do you want to show Audrey the picture?
Bipedal,
like
not sure which...
tigers?
Like a panther or a bobcat?
More just sort of like big humanoid-looking cats.
Awesome.
What's the name of the race again?
Ranger?
Katari.
Katari.
Yeah, Katari.
And I suspect that I don't know if this where this sort of fits into the world or whatever, but I think he looks like he has kind of an innate ability to sort of figure out his way, and if things are truly lost,
Super important now. Super important
A and B, right? That he probably I don't know if he found himself like in the city or what have you when this event occurred, or that's sort of what protected him or not, but he's obviously found himself here.
So I'm going to ask you, how long has he been in Haven?
I would think kind of on and off, maybe 20 years, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A while.
So he's been a committed diplomat or a committed liaison or something going on. Okay.
But, now things are really quite different.
Do you like the idea that you were thinking about leaving and going home?
I do think I like the idea that he was thinking of going home.
You had served your time and now it's
not up.
Do you want it to be... No, it's not up. Do you want it to be... do you want that there was an official diplomatic corps, or was this just something that your line did, or how do you feel that? I love that I don't have to do all the work.
I think there might have been a little bit of a contingent that sort of handled this, or a faction that handled this stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Family lines can be broken. I don't know why. I might sort of do a little bit of sort of Japanese sort of background to it, obviously, or something too. I think it seems kind of interesting. So I don't know. I might do a little bit of.
Yeah. So like anything that you want to do with the Katari, do with the Katari. I think that like with y'all, like you're kind of going to be telling me about your species, about your ancestries.
Yeah, I'm thinking the first one that came to mind for me anyway is that there's probably some kind of an honor that they maybe have.
Okay.
As we go, I guess that kind of gets better defined. But I think that there's sort of an honor system that they might have.
That's actually the phrase that popped into my head. All right. By the way, Justin, I know the name of the war from the Katari side was called the Culling.
The Culling?
The Culling. C-U-L-L-I-N-G.
Okay.
Do you have, and I'm putting you on the spot a bit here, Caitlin, do you have a name that the elves would have called it that you want? If not, we can come back to it. Because I had nothing left out to me.
I think it's possible that they might have just called it the expansion, because for them it was just, we aren't thinking about who we're pushing out of the way or taking over. We
called it Tuesday.
We're just growing what we're doing, and
right.
It sounds much more harmless than the culling.
I like that.
It was equally gruesome in reality.
So in real life, one of my points of amusement, and I'm sure I'm going to have some scholars of Japanese history correct me on this, but the Meiji Restoration, which began in 1868, is very funny to me that they call it a restoration. They refer to it as a restoration when it was a civil war, and there was a violent overthrow of a government that had been in place for 250 years.
It's like an R word, like a reckoning, or something between a Renaissance and like a.
To me, it's very funny that different cultures can have radically different, framing of the same event.
Of course they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be warring.
The Southern. I'm going to call it the
history is written by their victors.
Southern expansion.
Right.
Okay, great. No, I love that. All right. Last.
The Isles, we call him the Butcher of the South.
Last chunk as far as the world building, the big pieces to the world building goes. So, pre-reckoning, there were, scores, maybe hundreds of different gods. You had shrines, you had different pantheons. You had probably in the capital city. I'm thinking of something like a Greyhawk situation where you have temples that, you know, literally like streets that are just lined with so many different kinds of temples, and they might shift depending on who's in favor and who's not. They get closer and closer to the palace. 3 weeks ago, all of that went away. And it was revealed, and I'm being deliberately vague with this because each character is going to have to decide how they encountered this to them. But it was revealed to their soul that there are actually 6 true powers. That's it. So all other gods and all other shrines, deities, etc., were either shown to be subsidiaries of these 6, or they were just false. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine that, you know, so you would have the largest couple church systems just overnight collapse. Not just crises, I mean, they're gone now, and people are abandoning them in droves. And so they're grappling with, you won't have a chance to probably read this on screen at all, but these are from our friends over at, yay, we get to be back in 3rd grade and pass out
Take one,
handouts. So
we pass these out, but like you can, like we were passing notes.
So we have our lovely friends and sponsors, Cantrip Candles, and they have our 6. They have 6. Actually, it's 3. They call them 3 deities and 3 patrons. And so the first 3 are the deities, and the second trio are the patrons. And I'll let you read over that. But like basically, before we start, figure out what your character is doing with these deities. They don't have to worship them. They don't have to do anything with them if they don't want to. But it has now been revealed that
these are the only 6 that were left.
Yep. Well, that's a good interpretation.
Well, is it like at the...
It could be those are the 6 that are left. I like that interpretation. It could be those were always the 6 that were there. It could be that...
Only 6 that, like, you know about if you came from a different place and you didn't have access to knowing about more?
It could be that the gods just finished a war with each other, and these are the 6. These are the last 6 standing.
Yeah,
popped in my head.
Yep.
That's some Titan stuff.
So it all...
That would shake up a world.
But that's all unknown right now. This has just been revealed. For some people, it could have been, for some characters, it could have literally been a vision, you know, burning bush, or you know or like the Virgin de Guadalupe. For other people, it could be just a quiet knowing. For other people, it could be a dream. I mean, however that is for those characters. That was probably what was the final nail in the coffin of the sanity of some of the most powerful and oldest of the elves. That was the bridge too far for them to have their concept of the goddess destroyed and ripped away, and then they had to just deal with reality now. Be pretty rude.
It's a little rude.
It'd be pretty rude, you know.
I mean, all that happening at once, yeah.
Well, I mean, 3 weeks ago.
And then you also have your power stripped, and you have your mortality stripped, and yeah.
You're blind.
Yeah, and you're blind.
And where is everything?
Yeah. Where is everything? Yeah.
What happened to all of these maps?
So this is also the GM's reason of all of the really powerful characters. Like the question is always, well, where are they when the world is ending? This is where they are when the world is ending. The very power that they had is what destroyed them.
They are all in the same place.
Well, like the really powerful characters, like the 10th level characters, in this they go up to 10. All of those characters who would have been, you know, Save the World or would have been the heroes before or whatever, like they're all drooling right now. They're all in comas. They're all shattered.
But like Barnacle, like Finny, me, like was I present there or am I headed there because I'm sneaking my way towards what's left after the chaos?
You probably were somewhere around Haven, but Audrey, you could have been on the outskirts of it, because I imagine that I can see Finny sometimes like not really being around people.
Yeah, like Ribbit, like Ancestry. It's like, you know, it being downtown. Yeah, I probably if anything, observing it from afar gives a different lens.
How many? I wanted to ask this of the two of the So obviously elves are the predominant people in Haven. It is cosmopolitan though. It's people can travel freely, unrestricted. Now that the war is long over, even the Qatari can come and go as they please. How many, I wanted to ask each of you though, as kind of like my final world building thing, how many Ribbits, how many humans, and how many Qatari do you want in Haven? You don't have to give an exact number, but just an idea, because I haven't even settled on the exact population. Something like 10,000.
That's what I was going to ask. What's the
I
total?
don't know, because my skill set is hiding, but then probably finding him. We don't want to know how many of us are left, because we're going to find each other naturally.
Do you feel like there are a bunch that there'd be communities or collections of Ribbits in Haven, or do you feel like you're just talking about singletons, maybe pairs straggling around, or something in between?
I think it depends on the Ribbit being too afraid of revealing itself.
So you don't even know.
Yeah,
So
I think it's it's like we would recognize each other from afar,
No,
but we don't want to know, and we keep each other safe that way. But if we encountered each other, it would probably warm our heart and soothe the soul. But we're not looking for each other.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty sad. Unknown. That makes sense to me though, as a protective mechanism. All right. Cool. Thank you. What do you think?
I would say, humans and elves, at least in D&D, get along pretty well.
They get along.
And humans are very relatively politically active. So I would say it's...
Good. They're well represented.
Yeah, I would say they're well represented.
Okay.
There's different cities, different, I would say she came from, a region or something where, it's all mostly humans, but metropolitan areas, it's pretty mixed.
Okay. I like that. And Justin, what do you...
Walking down the street, you see humans.
Yeah. They'd be probably the second most
Do you
popular.
think elves are like superior to you, or do you think they're like bougie?
I think elves,
Careful how you answer.
I think elves
Because you guys have so many
that
same
they're
skills.
superior.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Because I wasn't sure if it was like it's head to head or.
Elves clearly think they're superior, but is it really like that?
Yes.
This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. What do you think, Justin?
I'm actually kind of thinking like probably in the low hundreds.
Okay.
I
So they have some kind of community.
I think
there,
so. I don't think that they're sort of naturally have proclivity towards living in the city, but my guess is that, especially given that the war is relatively recent memory, it's probably going to be one of those things where they have something of a presence just to make sure that there's...
I think, as we've been talking about this, I think it feels right to me. Yeah. That Haven is where the treaty was officially signed and the war was ended. The armistice was signed and the war was ended. Does that?
So we're Versailles.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's basically the Treaty of Haven.
The Treaty of Haven. I like it.
Treaty of
You just got these historical references, baby. I love it. I'm geeking out over here. Okay, so yeah. There you go.
History buff who's
Yeah.
culturally deprived.
Yeah,
So.
the Versailles thing didn't work out real well for long. So
Well,
No way, this isn't going to work. This is going to go great. Everything is going
perfect.
great.
This is gonna go great.
We should all just meet in the garden for tea and biscuits and sign paper.
I would feel better doing the connections now.
You think so? You have enough
I
to
have
go.
a question though about
Sure.
it, because here it says there's 3 options on the sheet, and it says assign at least one of these relationships to a character. So it's not, each of these needs to fill one of these slots, but you could just pick one and just assign that to one of the characters.
If you want, yeah. If you want to have that relationship with more than one person, those are really just like I love the idea, but that's not a straitjacket. So
I think it's like
Well, it's
I think it's
cutthroat.
juicy to try and connect myself to the person that Marlo would be least likely to be connected with.
sure.
And one of mine is I owe you a favor. And so I was thinking about how Marlo could owe Finny a favor, because Finny is this person on the
He's a
outs.
secretive.
This
ooh,
ribbit on the outs.
I like that.
So I'm wondering if maybe considering everything going
there's
on.
3 different things. I thought they all said the same thing.
Yeah, no,
They're different on all of our pages.
No, it's good.
okay.
It's good. It's they did a good job of
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Do you like that?
options
Do
are
you like
different.
So it's a favor?
Do you like her owing you?
Yeah. I was wondering if maybe
owing
like
you a favor?
since especially in the very beginning of not having maps, all of a sudden we don't know where things are. Maybe Marlo was confused and lost and like found herself suddenly outside of Haven just barely and was completely disoriented and stumbled across Ribbit, who kindly decided to Finny.
Yeah, who is a Ribbit.
Finny
yes.
the Ribbit.
Yes.
Who directed her back to the city.
Do you like that?
Especially, if I'm the one who's like hiding and you don't really know I exist, you probably have never interacted with my kind that often. So owing me a favor is,
I think
like
that's
I might
juicy.
need you. So
why would
no,
I owe a favor
needing.
to a Ribbit? But
Okay.
I like this.
I like that. Okay, yeah, let's do.
I owe you a favor, Finny.
Let's do that. Who's whoever wants to go next? If whatever you're inspired.
I got all mine because I've been
you already
hiding
know.
and listening to you. And I decided on it.
You already know.
Zeph, I'd follow you anywhere.
Uh-oh.
Varian,
You have
you
an
get into
environment.
too much trouble.
No.
Marlo, I'm intimidated by you, so owing
As
you a
you
favor
should
is cool. But, Varian, we get into too much trouble. Like, you want to go home? I don't have a home. I think we have.
A lot in common there.
I think we've got in common, so we could either use our powers for good, powers for bad, or just we both want to have a home.
I appreciate.
Zeph, I'd follow you anywhere because I think you're the most grounded. And if I'm the one who's hiding and I know the Earth like really, really well, and you're human, I think the powers you have that I don't are the most connected.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because you were specifically saying if there's some kind of strong fighting thing, you hide.
Yeah,
like
hide. But I'm the one. But I'm the one doing all the reconnaissance before you
Right.
go into battle. Or I'm then if I can turn my dagger into a bow and arrow one day because I'm better at that as a human. Yeah.
Does Zeph know that you're following her?
If I'm following all of them, I don't know when I'm going to let them know that I am. But I don't know if that's exactly where I'm starting out. And I don't know how everybody feels about that in terms of how they're going to let me know that they see me. But I don't want it maybe to affect anyone's decision of me. But I just feel like in this world where everything is lost, like the one who's going between the shadows and not knowing, I'm watching my 6 as a
Oh,
my
for
power is
sure.
watching my 6.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're gonna want someone to watch your 6, but I'm your 6. So I'm gonna let you know when I'm there, but I'm gonna know. But I think I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna let you know that I'm there, but for the right or wrong reasons.
Like it sounds like she probably knows then.
I would say that these two characters know each other.
Yeah,
Because I was already starting to think that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Like we've run into
Okay.
each other multiple times, had conversations, kind of thing.
Yeah, like interacted. You don't see me. You don't treat me like a lower species or anything like that. But you know we're in different worlds in the same world.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be the Timon to your
Dumped
Pumbaa.
over
I
there.
am. I'm feeling these.
Oh no, sorry. I'll be the Timon and Pumbaa to your Simba.
Man, let's see. I don't know. I might need a little time to think on this one.
Well, I've got mine now.
Okay. Go for it.
So starting with Finny, I see you trying your best,
What was
kind
your
of thing. Like
class?
she sees.
Rogue.
She's on rogue. Okay.
She sees the effort that Finny puts into certain things, as well as the fear of certain other things, and kind of recognizes that and probably sees or can guess kind of where some of that might come from, but she doesn't know the whole story. And she doesn't need to know the whole story unless Finny decides to tell her. So kind of that, and I can imagine like. I met you when I was, shortly after the Reckoning. It's been
About 3 weeks. Yeah.
That's long enough for her to slightly freak out and go, I need to make some maps. And she would just literally just walk around and start working on some maps. And that would include some in more urban areas of the city, including farther out. She's trying to map the city first.
And if I'm the one who's hiding, I probably know, like, shortcuts.
Yeah.
The sneaky ways around.
Yeah. Do you have the others?
I do. Marlo, we need to put our feelings aside.
That's funny because I have you.
I'll drink to that.
I trust you with my life.
Oh!
That sounds like there might have been. Okay, that's an interesting mix.
Nothing else need be said.
Okay, that's fine.
That is an interesting.
That's just...
Are we just going to leave that there and let that,
That's like
let
a
that
mic
develop
drop.
organically?
That's up to.
Well, I can already see kind of maybe how that might happen.
I mean, I have an idea, but that's between y'all. So
I see, like, a really fun power struggle for all the right reasons. Like, you need each other for all the right and wrong reasons.
okay, so we need to put our feelings aside. Do you have thoughts on that, especially knowing that?
But I trust you with my life.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw out some of the vague thoughts, and then we can kind of, feel where it goes from there. But some kind of situation where your magic failed you, my blade did not.
Yeah.
Because magic's unreliable right now.
Extra unreliable right now.
Mate, were you fighting alongside each other when the reckoning actually went off?
Could be.
Or something like that? Did that happen 3
Was
weeks
there
ago?
an active fight?
There could have been. Haven's pretty safe, but maybe y'all were clearing out some bandits outside, or you had some wild, I think it's called Strix wolves. Because you're near the forest. You were clearing out a pack of Strix wolves or something like that, and then the reckoning went off. Just it doesn't have to be that
That
way.
would be
Just-
interesting
yeah.
because then my character would have seen you
direwolf.
at the height of your power before the reckoning.
Yeah, you knew her as she once
And
was.
then see
so
the
strong.
drastic-
Significantly stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going to play into my character like she doesn't have magic, or she hasn't, and she doesn't really believe in the power of magic quite as much. Like, yeah, it's a power, but it can't do some of the things that
And it's not reliable
regular
like
mechanical
your blade.
blades and punching can do.
You guys were in, like, fencing class together, like, as
I'm-
little kids.
I'm gonna expand on that,
That's
Melissa, and I'm gonna say
I think that's an interesting stance to take in the middle of the...
No, it is. I'm going to say that one of the reasons why elves have been able to keep humans beneath them in the power hierarchy is because humans never fully embraced magic
Or didn't understand it.
to the same degree. There are human wizards, but
Yeah.
they're
Embrace out of fear,
fewer.
or
Like,
the fact
I, as a
that they-
player, am open to her learning or suddenly getting
Sure,
magic at some
sure.
point. But I
to
would
this-
say right
but to
now
this point-
she doesn't have magic, hasn't had it. It's like, yeah, you can do some things. Whatever.
And Caitlin, for Marlowe, I'm going to say you were as powerful as a person. You were the strongest person who survived the reckoning with her sanity. So anybody who is more advanced in magic than you got destroyed.
Is now
by
not.
it. Is now not.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
No pressure. That's fine.
Well, and your mentor went blind.
So you're still, yes, your loving lord.
Why do we have to take
you gotta
care
find
of
your
everybody?
own way now.
Okay.
And then Varian, I'll keep your secret.
Ooh.
That's a nice mix. Is it? You're gonna
What's
find out
not what the
why.
secret is?
Oh,
Yes.
boy. Okay.
Now you made him think like he doesn't even know what a secret is yet, and you're already keeping it.
I'm saving yours for last.
Tasty.
do it.
You have another one, Caitlin?
I have a third one, but I'm not vibing with it for anyone yet, so I'm gonna leave it for right now.
Okay. What's the third prompt?
The third prompt is I once considered you close. I don't know if I
that
once
doesn't-
considered Varian close
No.
because that doesn't quite go with our stories. So I think I can find another connection, maybe just between me and Justin.
No,
We can
I like
talk about
that.
something.
I once. No. I got you.
I mean, that's not what it said.
Okay.
No, I like
what
that.
tissue.
No, I like that. Like there's no.
Instantly applies an EP.
I got you.
NPC to
I got you. I got you. That is why it's going to take me 3 sessions to finish the intro adventure, because it's going to be my style, and I can't do anything quickly. All right.
Too many
so-
tasty morsels.
Yeah, too many tasty morsels. All right.
So many given circumstances.
Okay. So Marlo is I want to be more like you.
As you should, once again.
Here's
The elf of the group. Yes.
Well, what I see in Marlo is that she's able to have just adapted, and she's not just like survived, but she's actually like changing with the world and like adapting with it. And like, I feel like I'm really struggling with that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's really a tumultuous experience, and I just can't seem to shake it.
I love that because you said that she's kept her sanity, so that's
Barely. But yeah,
Not just that, but she went from
did it.
being able to cast like a wizard, and now she's basically kind of adapting to sort of emotionally.
she's becoming more
She's-
human.
Primal now, baby.
Yeah.
I love that, Justin. Actually, that just gave me chills. That prompted me. I'm gonna say,
So juicy.
because we're just doing the lore right now. It is
Good stuff.
It is unheard of for an elf prior to the reckoning. It was unheard of for an elf to be to cast with instinct. They only cast with intellect, and they were the best in the world at it.
Yeah.
How much instinct do you have, by the way?
Plus
two.
two.
Oh wow. Okay.
Strongest.
But it wasn't.
These numbers
So
are
your
actually
mind
okay,
has been actually blasted by this,
Right.
but your intuition has been enhanced by the
There's
reckoning.
ways to.
That's the only way.
Like,
And that probably didn't happen
Yeah.
for the
Character
other
creation.
elves, which is
They were
why
too entrenched.
she's...
They were too entrenched.
Round when we
Adapting.
roll die or
Yep.
etc.
So whatever it is inside of her,
But I don't know.
we'll discover that.
We'll
but
find
for
it.
some reason, she was able, unique amongst your colleagues, you were able to make that shift, and anybody older than you got blasted. That's great. Okay.
Love it.
Yep,
Keep
wants to be
going.
more like her.
Can't blame you.
Finny, I guess we apparently spend getting into trouble a lot, but I am worried that you're better than me. Probably better at
Oh, it's stalking around and
stalking
and
around,
hiding
doing
and
some things, kind
ooh.
of being about, yeah.
That's really funny.
That's really cool because
yeah.
honestly, everything
Like,
that
this
you gave
guy's-
me, like that we'd get into too much trouble, I've kind of thought you'd be like the alpha, I'm the beta. So you telling me that I might be your alpha?
Maybe he puts
I
that
love
front
it.
up.
He can put that front. Well, no, he can
Yeah.
put that front up, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have that insecurity inside of him
Makes
about
it
that.
worse.
That's good. No,
Yeah, it's
that's good.
All right.
I love that.
These prompts were
Zeph?
really good.
Yeah,
Zeph.
these are great.
All right.
Short for Zafina.
We tell each other everything.
And you put that down without knowing that she was going to do that.
I'll take it.
That's good.
You're talking to him about me?
That's
We keep each other's
not
secrets.
as much as you think.
So we're the gossip girls. That's great.
Gossip girls.
Oh, I love it.
This is so tasty.
That's really good, Justin.
So then, in that case, maybe I've known you longer. Out of before I even came to Haven.
I don't think this is your first trip to Haven.
Okay.
I don't. I think you've been here.
His people are from
But
somewhere
I've been
not
here for a
Haven.
while, too.
You've been here for a while.
Okay.
And my guess is I've
Is a
probably
ranger a
traveled in-
human?
Ranger.
I'm the ranger.
Oh, yeah. Is a ranger a human? Like
So
the
you have
ancestor?
class,
Yes.
and then you have ancestry.
Okay.
So you can have you can be like you're a ribbit, but
Yeah.
you could be a ribbit ranger or a ribbit fighter. You happen to be a ribbit rogue,
Okay.
like that sort of thing.
Ranger, river, rogue.
I don't know, like I don't know, ranger if he like is this creature.
River, ruggy.
This does get a big okay.
Very cool.
No, that's really good. I know we started late. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Do we have? You think you have another 10? Go another 10 minutes? Is that
Sure.
Okay.
good? Okay.
That's my fault, and it's too juicy to stop now.
So okay. I was actually thinking about doing like a mock combat, but we'll pass on that.
I'd love to see y'all fight because I literally am hiding, and I only have like a dagger in my pocket. So if you guys want to fight, I'll
We
watch.
might need that dagger.
The first the startup scenario is really good at walking you through the mechanics. Like I read that, so I like that a lot. I'm not going to stress over that. Take a stress.
Angel takes us
Yeah.
over running
Angel,
first.
Angel does in this very spot, at some point at this very table, take a freaking literal stress.
I believe that.
Okay.
12.
Do y'all have any? Do y'all have any burning questions for this time? Character-wise, world-wise, concept. I don't have the depth. I don't have anywhere near the depth that I normally do, but that's kind of by design. In terms of like off the top of my head, I'm sitting here trying to decide how old Lord Theodulf is.
He's very old.
I see him a little bit more like a Tyrion. Like he's not that old, so probably him losing his like sight would be really I feel like could turn him into a very ugly person. Like he's this mentor, but he lost that, and it could bring out a darker side in him.
It could happen.
Like he's not that old. Like he's not that old. He still wasn't like in his prime, but wise.
It could happen that way. Basically, there's a and I'll give you the reference. It's in the core. I think it's I haven't looked at 1.4. I think it's in there though too. But there's a magic cane that taps, and then it basically acts as like a sonar device every time that you're walking. So it gives you like dark vision.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or like blind sight, yeah, as you're walking. So your character has like a vague idea, and that was never needed before. Yep. Certainly not for the elves, because they were quote unquote perfect. And they also had magic that could just their high magic could just heal whatever, or transmute whatever, and it was fine.
I have a question about the elves, actually.
Sure.
Since we're discussing previously how there's these 6 gods whose temples remain and everything, was there a specific god or religion that all elves kind of adhered to?
I'm feeling like yes.
Seems just like that would fit kind of with how they have a very strong culture.
Like
Death, knowledge, rebirth.
I'm curious if it's one that remained or didn't remain.
Did not
Did not remain.
If they did
those
have
are
a
the ones that are
unified
left.
god or goddess,
Oh,
then
so
that's-
did they, did they lose the main one? Maybe
they fight over even
okay.
amongst themselves.
Yes.
There will be squabbling.
So for the
that
first
makes- oh, that's-
for
that's-
the first time in your people's long history,
Or something.
there is you actually I actually wasn't going to say anything about this until the first session, but since you're already intuiting it, Justin, there actually is the specter of conflict and even whispers of potential civil war over that exact, because now nothing is certain. Communications are crippled. Okay.
But within which like beings? Within like the higher like the elves or
Well, the specifically that when you have a species as storied and powerful and ancient as they are, they have one single god. They allowed worship of other gods. They were fine with that, but for them, they had one unified god,
they had Zeus, but a
and
zillion
that
others.
god is now gone,
Yes.
and has been revealed as false after 40,000 years of worship.
Problematic.
And now all of a sudden they're reeling, and so they don't even know what to do with themselves. And some of them, a few of the elves, are desperate for some sort of life raft, and so they're going over to these different gods and already proclaiming that we have to get on board with them, to one of the true gods.
Death, knowledge, rebirth.
We have to. I mean, that's scary.
I'm
forge or
imagining
bargains.
young elves like coming up to me like, from whom are you gleaning this ability
Yes.
to cast the
And
way
those
you
are all like
are?
very like they're very rich. It's not like it's just God of War.
Yeah.
God
No,
of, like I love
no,
how like
no,
they're
these are-
it's very very vague and rich. Like rebirth and knowledge coincide with each other, but they're still
And I'm
It's
gonna
different in
I'm gonna say
spaces.
that
I love
each that in these temples, I do too. No, I really, they did a fabulous job at giving you something to grab hold of. In each of these temples, since this is from Candrip Candles, that's like literally the candle that is burning in that temple. So hopefully, if we ever go into those temples, I can get those candles and then I can light them, and then you can smell what the
Needs
temple
to
is
be
like.
a
Yeah,
complete
yeah,
sensory experience. I demand to smell my
Aveda.
environment.
Aveda, the sensory journey.
Oh gosh, can we get some blue oil at the table?
No,
I live in my first apartment that allows open flame.
I meant to do this earlier, Caitlin, but I thought you'd get a kick out of
I
this.
see my handwriting.
This is what I'm going to This is what I'm going to be using for this campaign. To
Gosh, that sends me back. This is from when Angel and I met in esthetician school.
Yes, it
My
is.
So that's why she's like the elf. She's the hierarchy.
and you gave that to me years ago because you said I'm never going to use this again, and I've used it. I was using it.
That
but
is hilarious.
I was like, it's
y'all want to know
fine.
how to give a
Looks like my
60-minute
social
facial?
studies like binder. Looks like my social studies binder from like
Show
6 years ago.
this. Get sued by a
So wait, do we have 3 licensed estheticians at the table?
Not licensed. I am not licensed.
Not licensed. You went through school.
Clear. I never took my second practical test.
She easily
Well, you're on camera
yes,
saying
yes.
that. So.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
That's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
That is funny.
You're also an esthetician. So funny.
I never put on
Skin
sunscreen.
brings people together.
You put on.
Good job. That's awesome. No, really.
Honestly.
All right,
German
so
Irish sunscreen. I'm proud.
the last.
I do have a couple questions.
Oh, sure. Sorry,
Sorry,
go ahead.
before you move on.
Yeah, no, because I'll make my little last world building thing, and then we can go ahead and finish. But yeah, let me get all the questions in. So Caitlin, did that help?
Very much so.
I'm sorry, baby. You were having a moment over there.
I heard you say that. Oh, I love that.
It did help. It answered my question.
Okay,
It
awesome.
colored my world.
It colored your world.
But
Love it.
These 6 gods that are true, left, whatever, happened. Other than the just instant knowing that there's those 6, are these gods active in communicating with the people? Or
That is a hell of a question.
are the people just like, okay, these, and we all instantly know that these are the 6 that are left, and the more religious are scrambling?
Yeah, like, are they on the Earth or?
No, that's a really good. So the answer is it depends on the god.
Okay.
So, for example,
Death, knowledge, rebirth, phases.
there was one when I was reading through this where I was like, oh, this is going to be trouble. So you have Dajjal, Lord of Bargains, and he is making souls hand over fist right now. Because people are so desperate for anything in the chaos, any certainty in the chaos. And he's showing up in a lot of places.
Interesting.
And a lot of the noise
Like
has been...
physically showing up, or
To believe the tale, if you believe the tales, yes.
or just you like I could be sitting somewhere and like I'm gonna make her not religious and
Right.
be like, okay, there are 6 now.
So far, anything that you... Right. There were hundreds
So
before,
she would
that's
just
fine.
do like hear more gossip in the tavern.
hear-
Oh yes, I struck a bargain.
Yes, you would, yeah, and
Tell
and
me
now,
about it.
and now my
She'll
crops
be
are...
sitting there going like, oh my god. it's like-
I struck a deal with the Lord of Bargains, and now my crops are in again. You know, that sort of thing. Or and now my wife can walk again, or etc.
It kind of sounds like a devil meets Hades, but still speaks human better than both of them.
For Dajjal, yes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I'm going to note they had 3 that were classified as deities that they say are gods or goddesses, and then they had 3 that are patrons. So that's a different spin. So they're still on the same power level, but they have a different relationship with people, just writ large. Elves, humans, ribbits, etc. Like, they just have a different relationship. So the patrons, I'm thinking, are going to be probably more directly involved because there's something in it for them, or there's something that they want. Whereas with the gods, they're gods. So
You're like, we need to be worshipped now.
So they're going to be right. They're
We're all that's left, right?
They're probably not. And then if you're the Prince of Death, if you're Florence, the Prince of Death, I mean, business is good right now. Business is very good right now.
So that's my other question, because with the Reckoning, you mentioned a lot of magic is different. That
Has been
affected
shattered.
communication,
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
transportation, memory has been affected. Is there any physical devastation as a direct result of the Reckoning? Geography change?
Not
Or like
so-
resources lost.
As far
resource changes.
directly, Melissa, as far as you know, and that's a big
Because
caveat.
indirectly, there would
There's huge.
automatically
There's,
be
I mean,
all kinds of
crops are rotting. People, yeah. As a direct result of it, as far as you know, and you only basically know a little bit outside of Haven right now, no. But just imagine all of the follow-ons of losing your entire infrastructure, your entire magical infrastructure like that. And you're actually seeing things like, because you're next to the Sablewoods, which doesn't really like people anyway. And like the Sablewood is actively hostile. It's actively, basically, it's not people, it's the civilization, and it's always trying to grow and undermine civilization. That was kept at bay easily. Not so much now. And so now you have Strixwolves coming out and attacking people. You have Thistlefolk who usually just keep to themselves. They're emboldened and they're coming and snatching things, and they're So basically, there are things happening around now directly and that are dangerous because of the undermining of all of the boundaries before and the capabilities before. Does that help? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you see Finny coming from those outskirts, like having lost everything, especially being like being like underborn?
You definitely would have, like, you would know, in that sense, Audrey, you would know the Sablewood better than the other characters, but you don't remember. You know that you were there, but it's going to be all new to you-ish as you're going there, even though you know that you've journeyed through there before. So things are effed up right now. Did anybody else have any?
Yeah, one
Sure.
more quick question. Memories being affected. Obviously, we've already covered that works for places, but does that also cover people, family relations? Like, can
That's
I
in a
remember
tricky
the
spot.
name of the place that I'm from, but can I remember who my parents are?
You
Or would I recognize them if I saw them?
It's in a tricky spot. It's in a tricky spot because imagine if you lost all sense of place, how many of our memories are tied to physical locations?
Yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of them are. So you do remember your parents' names. You do remember, whatever your emotional relationship was, close, distant, however it was.
Gosh, you guys were totally best friends when you were little and don't remember.
You would remember your siblings,
That would be funny, actually.
But if you try to go back to like, why this happened, or that moment, like, of warmth, or like where home is, you can still feel home, but you can't recall home anymore. I mean, it's pretty monstrous how all of this got leveled.
It's rough.
It's rough. It's rough. And for some people, it was too much. And they're just checked out. They're not participating anymore.
But we're going to bring it back to life.
So, so there's one in character, one out of character, and then we'll wrap it up. So the explicit themes of this campaign for me are exploration and free will. Those are the two things that I am exploring as a GM.
Heavy.
You don't have to answer right now, but at the beginning of next session, I'm going to ask y'all what are two themes that you want to explore as characters. And I will start to form, and if you want to tell me that actually even before the next session, if you want to tell me that, I will start doing my world building. Like I already have this whole thing going on in my head with I once considered you close. That I have a whole thing going on because of that.
Oh gosh.
So if you want to tell me your themes beforehand, let me know, and then I'm going to start incorporating that into the world building because this is theme-based storytelling. Yes, ma'am.
Can lend I call it an Audrey-ism. But I think I told you this when I met you, Angel. But I think it makes sense for Finny. Be more of what they accuse you of.
Okay.
That's juicy.
Patent pending. I mean, I'm on camera, right?
I'm going to think about how I can translate that into a theme, but I get that. No, I feel that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Be more of what they accuse you of.
Does anyone else have a theme that you know immediately that you have to explore with these characters? Or
I'm definitely going to be leaning into losing your religion, your god, because I think
that's good.
out of everything that the elves are losing, which is pretty much everything, that's the thing that will rock her world the most. I think she really leaned on that as her guide in life.
Okay.
Well, us little ones see you as gods, so you got time to step up.
No problem.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you see these incredibly beautiful, powerful, learned things that live forever. and now all of a sudden they're like screaming in the streets and huddled in the fetal position. Yeah. Okay. I know I said just one thing, but this is a session 0, and a lot of this kind of is sub rasa, but I need to explicitly state this because I'm trying to be good modeling. The tone of this campaign is going to be a lot. I don't want to say lighter, but the tone of this campaign is not going to be as gruesome as the main table. So as the current table, because this is not a war story. This is a story about exploration and free will. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be combat. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be all the things. But I'm looking more at like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Some of the, toward the end.
Currently watching that for the first time in my life.
Really?
Actually, yeah.
Toward the end of the show, it does get heavier, but it's still.
So this is your Bisaka.
I don't want to be water.
That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So a lot of the other discussions that go on, when we talk about levels of violence, or we could I don't think we're all adults. I don't think anybody that's going to push anybody out of their comfort zone. If it does, let me know. Just explicitly saying if you need to, if for whatever reason something's coming up for you, you need to step away from the table, please do so. Absolutely, my blessing. You don't need my permission, but if you need it, there you have it. absolutely my blessing. If you want to talk to me after session, like, hey, Angel, that was really hard. Can we make these adjustments, or we cannot do that again? All of that. I'm open. I'm open to all of that. Because this is a different one. For the other one, it was kind of like, okay, guys, here's what I'm going to do. Strap in. And if you want to play, be at the table. So, I mean, we still had conversations about that, but like, it was much more, this is the vision. This is what we're doing. Do you want to be part of this? Whereas for me, this experience is a kind of the opposite, feedback loop direction of it. Okay. So all good. Any questions on that? Yeah, I mean, you've gamed with me before, etc.
I figured out her theme.
Oh, you figured out the theme already?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Grace and grit.
Damn, girl.
Well, you're the human. I'll be the grit if you give me the grace.
No, like, she's going to have these two sides that are just very opposite.
Oh, man. Okay, that just popped,
So that's why
a couple characters in my head.
That's
Okay.
you to you. It's you to
Kind
me.
of. Yeah,
And
it's
then
going to be...
You are the, cherry
I
on
think
top.
so.
Well,
There'll be an interesting dynamic with the relationship with you, with the relationship with her, and there.
This
Maybe a little less.
This group is going to be so different from the other table. I'm really looking forward to this. I really am.
That's a good thing.
All right. So the last thing that looms large that you would have a direct connection to, but all of you would know, is there is a semi-divine. I'm still trying to decide how exactly to describe her, but there is a semi-divine, essentially racial leader of the elves. Her title is Your Wisdom, as opposed to Your Majesty. Your Wisdom.
Your wisdom.
Your Wisdom. So if you were addressing her, it would be Your Wisdom.
Like your grace.
Like Your Grace, exactly. And her name is Kishtari, and she had functioned as an intermediary to the goddess herself, which is now lost. As you might imagine, she is enormously powerful. Like, to the point where some people think, because one thing that's very hard in Daggerheart to do is to restore life. I love that they made it so difficult. There are even moments where she is credited with restoring someone to life. Now, those are far and few between. She is at least 40,000 years old. So she has presided over the beginning of Elven civilization.
So how's she doing now?
Maybe not as
So
Is she in Haven or is she elsewhere?
Lord Theodulf has one of the. So you have to take baby steps, and he first and foremost he has to try to do the best he can for the welfare of his people, of the immediate Haven, because you can't have people starving to death or eaten by Strix wolves. However, every single elf who still has their mind somewhat intact, like, is desperate to try to find what has happened to her wisdom. You would
Is her actual, or you
Kishtari.
said Kishtari?
Kishtari.
Can you spell that for?
Kishhtari. Kishtari.
Kishtari.
Yeah. So, under normal circumstances, if the unthinkable happened and she had been destroyed or incapacitated, you would all know. Every elf around the world would know. Now,
Yeah. It's kind of up in the air.
it's kind of up in the air.
Well, that's probably where she's chilling.
If she was, I have not even settled. I was kicking around 3 or 4 different potential ones. I haven't even settled on a name for the capital. I'll probably have a write-up for that. You would have been there before, and then all of you can choose whether or not you've been there as well. But it was a city of wonder. Mm-hmm. It was a high. Yeah, I mean, you had floating houses. You had libraries made of light. You had memory stones. You had anything in the world could be healed once you were let once the healers there attended to. All of that, limbs regrown, sight restored, everything. It was as close to a paradise as could be made. Of course,
Sounds like a utopia.
Well, of
like
course-
utopia.
yes, but
utopia meets paradise meets an oasis even.
under Elven control and dominance.
There it is.
And that, and there it is.
What do you mean? That's exactly what we said.
Sounds like a utopia to me.
But even at that extreme age, Kishtari still went out, not as much as she used to, but she still went out amongst her people. And there is...
Did she manifest into a being, or she's regal and you know who she is?
There's no mistaking her. There's no mistaking her. She has the flames of Regency above her head, the silver flame. And the end of the war, one of the things that finally brought the Qatari, who were impossible because they were using guerrilla tactics and they were impossible to nail down, was for the first time in the memory of your generation, her wisdom took to the field and was invincible in the field and was...
That went well for us.
Yeah. Okay. Because you had challenged the elves so successfully for so long that she finally had to go there herself.
Time to saddle up.
Which, so we'll talk more about that war, but that has left a level of trauma and remembrance in your people, but also awe. And to her credit, when it was time to stop, she stopped. It was enough. And then she left.
She knows restraint.
Yeah, it was enough.
Okay.
All right, so that's where we will end that. All right, y'all. I hope you and I hope our faraway friends have been at least mildly entertained by our going back and forth. Thank you so much for joining us, for your time, and I am very much looking forward to the start of this campaign. Yeah? Yeah. All right, let's do it. Thank you. Valet, goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Why limit your imagination? In the tabletop role-playing space, customization is everything, especially when it comes to your character. Whether you're a player, a painter, or a master of tales, your character is what matters most. Using high-quality, fully customizable miniatures, you can be built for battle with Eldritch Foundry.
Greetings, weary travelers, and welcome to Constructed Chaos, a channel dedicated to all things D&D, including live play streams and podcasts, 3D printing, painting, crafting, homebrew content, and guides for players and dungeon masters alike. Join our Discord for even more special benefits, announcements, and free downloadable content. And until next time, go out there and make some chaos.